Green to Stay Eco Bounty News, the news with a tinge of mutiny, coming at you on behalf of eastcoasteco.com. We got your back. Okay, now we got a great looking forward to the great things happening currently around the world in way of transitioning to the new economy. Very positive things happening. New economies getting involved in a new solution for trading, new trade routes being set up in South America. Great things happening, positive things happening. If you get a chance, maybe you could go check out some of our social posts. We have, like we said, we've got eastcoasteco.com. We've got 12 location regions, all dealing with sustainability media, all dealing with innovation and renewables and, divestment away from the dirty, wasteful fossil fuel industry economy. So if you get a chance, you can go check that out. Just recently on some of our social blogs, we posted an article this morning, or a video this morning, from Moment of Clarity with Lee Camp. He did a great program. We've shared it on our social, so if you get a chance, you can go to any of our social platforms, check out that great video from Lee Camp. It's regarding a 100-car pile-up in Illinois, and the underlying reasons for why the pile-up is not really mentioned in the mainstream media. So maybe you could go check that video out, and he goes into some of the underlying effects that are causing some of these problems that seem unrelated, but a lot of them are related to one specific problem. So go check out that video if you get a chance. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Sydney. Just checking out some of the mainstream stories here in Australia. Recently there was all the mainstream articles pumping out this decision by the government to clamp down on vaping, and I just find it peculiar that yesterday when I went onto YouTube, there must have been half a dozen different media outlets with this story about the government's clamp down on vaping. And I guess I see a lot of people vaping. That doesn't really relate to me, that particular story. But what I find peculiar is that with what's happening around the world, they seem to pick out these stories and run with that one single thing. They don't cover the increasing pressures on families and working people, on people with trying to get by. They seem to focus. You might notice this yourself. They seem to focus on stories that always deflect or either blame this particular government, which they don't like. Most of the mainstream media don't like the Labor government. Why don't they like the Labor government? Because they're not that close actually. They've gone pretty right over the last couple of decades, but they're more related to issues which are going to benefit working people and just the average person in Australia. They don't like that. They don't like any of those sorts of policies. I noticed there's a couple of articles I saw recently. One to do with the premiers all have this supposed outcry against interest rates, and I was thinking, well, it's a bit strange to whinge and whine about interest rates, because all the federal reserves in the Western countries, they more or less line up with the same fiscal economic policies. So it's not a surprise when the Federal Reserve here raises interest rates, because you'll find that right across the board in all the Western countries. They all their economies seem to rely on the same same subjects, same fiscal accounting, and that's all related to the US dollar. So if the US Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it's more than likely, or if we're affected by all these sorts of economic factors, which are related to the US dollar, then it's no surprise that the Federal Reserve here will act in harmony with the Federal Reserve there. So I don't understand how they voice that particular story regarding the premiers, because this is nothing new. Again, what we believe here at Green Estate Eco Bounty News, we believe that our mainstream media is set up, and we're going to keep hamping on about it. We're going to keep reminding everyone. We're going to keep saying this, because really nothing's changing. Our mainstream media here, our establishment media here, are set up for the purpose to echo the neoliberal austerity, corporate favoured type policies that come from right-wing governments. That's what the media is all about. There's only like two mainstream sort of large media corporations here in the US. There's 6, but you'll find them all with the same agenda, which is to maintain a status quo, a neoliberal austerity, clamp down on workers, no wage increase, more profits for corporations, more getting rid of environmental protection so that fossil fuel companies can pollute. They're all doing the same thing. It's nothing surprising, okay? But anyway, so what we're going to do from now on is we're going to go after the establishment. We're going to come after you now, because I don't know about all my fellow Australians, but I am sick of making excuses, which I saw a recent TikToker, actually, she did a great job, and I'm in consensus with her. I'm sick of making excuses for the mainstream politicians, the mainstream parties, who aren't trying to do anything, who aren't trying to invigorate this some of these great opportunities to transition away from fossil fuels, to make fossil fuel companies pay for the transition. Stop giving them subsidies, stop giving them taxpayer handouts, stop mollycoddling this boomer generation here, that will be the last generation to benefit from all the policies, all the social structure, and victories from unions, victories from the labour movement, which set up a lot of these strategies for older people, for making sure that they get first opportunity in the shares offered in previously public owned utilities. They'll be the last generation, and they are not interested in passing on any of these opportunities to the new generation, not interested in passing on any of these strategies for younger people, opportunities for owning land or buying property, or just paying rent. They're not interested in that, because they're part of this network of wealth stakeholders which don't want to help anyone else. I have to say it, and it's all over the West. Okay. Anyway, leave your thoughts about that. What do you think about that? So we want to go after these establishment. We want to go after we want to stop making excuses for the government, stop making excuses for the mainstream media. We want everyone to wake up and see where we are. Yes, vaping, yeah, it could be a concern for a lot of people, but like in the stream, in relation to what's happening around the world with economies and inflation and everything, it doesn't need to be, on the front page of every mainstream media. Like, talk about things like bring some accountability back into journalism. Anyway, so we're going to leave it at that. Please go check out some of our social. We've had some great stories lately. We've had stories about, as we said, Lee Camp's story about the pile-up recently in Illinois, the traffic jam. Also, there's a great petition on change.org about keeping the use of cash, and making the banks keep some of their branches open in regional areas. There's a great petition on change.org. Go to our social, there's links to that, which is very important, because we know with all the cybercrime that if the cash use is minimized and everyone's forced onto some digital platform to rely on their finances, we know that's going to be a security risk. It means that if networks go down, or if they're hacked, more people's details are going to be stolen. So we need to keep cash. We need to keep the use of cash it's vital for small business. It's vital for everyday people that they can still use cash. And of course, there's as we mentioned, the cyber risk as well. Okay, so go and check out all our platforms, all our social, and leave your thoughts and comments, and subscribe if you can. Give this video a like. We're going to leave it at that. It's Green to Stay Eco, Bounty News on behalf of eastcoasteco.com. We got your back. Signing out.